It was the late 1960s and early 1970s in Northern California when a wave of terror began sweeping across the region. The streets were haunted by an unknown figure who would come to be known as the Zodiac Killer. His story remains one of the most chilling mysteries in criminal history. The Zodiac's reign of terror wasn't just terrifying because of the murders, but because of the cryptic clues he left behind, taunting law enforcement and the public alike. Despite decades of investigation, the killer's true identity remains a haunting enigma. Today we delve deep into this chilling case, uncovering clues that lead nowhere, yet still manage to keep us intrigued. It all began on December 20th, 1968, when 17-year-old Betty Lou Jensen and her boyfriend, 16-year-old David Faraday, were shot and killed near Vallejo, California. The couple had been on a quiet evening date when their car was ambushed. The killer shot them at close range and then disappeared into the night. At first, it seemed like a random act of violence, an isolated crime that would go unsolved. However, things took a strange turn just months later, on July 4th, 1969, when another couple, Darlene Farron and Michael Mageau, were targeted near Blue Rock Springs Park. This time, the Zodiac Killer made his presence known more boldly. After shooting Darlene, the killer approached the car and shot Michael, who miraculously survived. The attack was sudden, brutal, and left law enforcement puzzled. What made this case different was the letter the killer sent to a local newspaper shortly after the attack, identifying himself as the murderer. The letter was chilling. It included a message about the killing and a cryptic cipher that he claimed would reveal his identity if solved. The Zodiac Killer was no longer a mere murderer. He had become a symbol of mystery and fear, a figure who would taunt police and journalists alike, leaving behind disturbing clues that appeared to lead nowhere. Section 2. The Letters and Ciphers. Decoding the Zodiac's message, the Zodiac. Killer's letters weren't just threatening. They were chilling works of cryptic genius, designed to confuse, frighten, and challenge authorities. In addition to detailing his crimes, he sent complex ciphers to the newspapers. The first cipher, which was sent in July 1969, became known as the 408 character cipher. It contained symbols and letters, which the Zodiac claimed would reveal his name when solved. He demanded that the cipher be published, stating that if his wishes were ignored, he would continue killing. This demand was only the beginning. A second cipher appeared in another letter later that year. It was even more complex, containing 340 characters that formed another cryptic code. The Zodiac Killer was essentially daring the world to solve his puzzles, to uncover his true identity. However, despite countless efforts by amateur and professional code breakers alike, these ciphers remained unsolved for decades. One of the most terrifying aspects of the Zodiac's letters was the way he seemed to predict his next move, almost as if he had the power to control the investigation. As years went by, he continued to send more letters, some of them filled with new ciphers, others with more disturbing threats. The most unsettling part, he was never caught. His letters seemed to be a game to him, a way to mock the police, all while continuing his killing spree. The Zodiac Killer's first victims were teenage lovers of his targets became more random and unsettling as time went. In September 1969, the Zodiac struck again, this time murdering Brian Hartnell and Cecilia Ann Shepard at Lake Berryessa in Napa County. What made this attack particularly chilling was that the Zodiac wore an executioner's hood, and he even drew a symbol on his chest, a symbol that would become his calling card. After tying up the couple, the killer stabbed them repeatedly, and when the police arrived, the Zodiac had already vanished into the surrounding woods. However, before leaving, the Zodiac drew his now famous symbol on the car door, an emblem of a cross inside a circle, symbolizing his reign over death. In the years that followed, the Zodiac claimed more victims, with some of the most brutal killings taking place in the remote areas of California. However, his most famous crime occurred in December 1969, when he murdered another young couple, this time in the heart of a busy intersection. But it wasn't just the brutality of his crimes that left everyone terrified. It was the complete lack of any clear patterns. Section 4. Suspects and Theories. Who was the Zodiac Killer? Voiceover. Despite multiple investigations and dozens of suspects, the identity of the Zodiac Killer has remained one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in criminal history. One of the most prominent suspects was Arthur Lee Allen, a convicted child molester who had been seen in the area around the time of the murders. He was linked to the case by circumstantial evidence, such as handwriting similarities between his letters and those sent by the Zodiac. However, no physical evidence ever tied Allen to the murders. Another suspect was Richard Gaikowski, a journalist who had a strange connection to the case. Gaikowski's handwriting matched the Zodiac's letters, and some of his acquaintances believed he was the killer. Yet again, there was no definitive proof to link him to the crimes. In the years that followed, theories ranged from the Zodiac being a local police officer to an obscure suspect with no criminal history. One theory even suggested that the Zodiac might have been a group of individuals working together. However, all of these theories share one thing in common. None of them could definitively prove the Zodiac's identity. Section 5, Theories and Clues. What do we know today? The mystery of the Zodiac Killer continues to haunt investigators and the public alike. New advancements in DNA testing have provided some hope that we may one day uncover his true identity. In 2020, a team of private investigators and genealogists announced that they had cracked one of the Zodiac's infamous ciphers, revealing a cryptic message that had been hidden for over 50 years. However, even with these breakthroughs, the case remains unsolved. The Zodiac Killer may have died, or he may still be out there, living a quiet life and leaving behind only the haunting memories of his crimes. Conclusion: will we ever know the truth? The Zodiac Killer's story is a reminder of just how chilling and mysterious the world of crime can be. Despite all the clues, the ciphers, and the theories, we still do not know who he was, and perhaps we never will. Was he a lonely killer with a need for attention? Or did he have a deeper motive we may never understand? One thing is certain: his legacy has left an indelible mark on the history of unsolved crimes. And as long as his identity remains unknown, the mystery of the Zodiac Killer will continue to haunt us. Thank you for watching The Chilling Tale of the Zodiac Killer, Clues That Lead Nowhere. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe for more true crime mysteries that remain unsolved. What do you think? Will we ever uncover the true identity of the Zodiac Killer? Let us know in the comments below, and stay tuned for more intriguing stories.